Hey guys, welcome back. I just want to say thank you for tuning in to my free content and thank you so much for subscribing to my brand new newsletter and also for reading my last two mail letters. Now if you missed any of them, don't worry, I'm going to put links into this one so you can see and benefit from all the free guides that I've uploaded and videos for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the mystery of contouring. So I know that there's a lot of different ways people do it out there, but I'm going to talk you through how a pro does it, and this will help you with your makeup artistry skills. And it's actually not as hard as people make out. I think these online tutorials are so overcomplicated and it makes people think that they have to put loads and loads of layers of cream, loads of stripes on their face, when in fact it's way less than that. It takes way less time. And you know, you can get an amazing natural result. And just remember, the point of contouring is not that you see it, it's supposed to be undetectable so that it brings out your features but in a subtle way so that you can't see any lines on the face or any weird orangey marks, which I'll talk you through that in a second because that's a big no-no as well. So it's just remember, it's all about enhancing rather than putting loads and loads of makeup on. Okay, so I'll get to that in just a second for you and I'll see you soon, guys. Hey guys, so back again. Now I'm going to talk you through some of my favourite products for contouring. Now there's a few little rules to contour, and you don't want to contour with anything too orange or too warm, and you don't want anything with too much shimmer in, or if you can avoid shimmer altogether, brilliant. A tiny bit is okay, but nothing too crazy, too glittery or just too silvery, that sort of thing. So some of my favourite products I will just show you. Now I do use a lot of powder contour methods. The only time I would really use cream is if I'm doing a beauty or an editorial shoot, because I just find I can build it up a bit more, and it can sometimes come off a bit better on camera, because when you're doing an editorial look, you can really push it a bit more rather than say a wedding makeup look, because obviously there's a few rules you've got to stay within for wedding makeup and not go too far. So I'll just quickly run through the ones that I like for cream contouring. So I've got the Kryolan HD palette, which is actually my kit at the minute, but I'll post up a picture of that for you. A lot of you that have trained with me will know what that looks like as well. And I've got the Body Shop darkening drops, which just come in a little dropper. Now this, you need the tiniest bit, so pigmented, so I would use that with a synthetic brush and just blend that up onto the hairline. So I'll talk you through the mapping of the face in a second. So just that, and you can also use the NARS concealers. Oh, there's a Dior one there, don't want that. So these are brilliant for highlighting and contouring as well. And you can also use the Dermacolor camouflage concealers. So when I first started makeup, which was many moons ago now, these used to come in a little pot, and I don't know if they still do them, like a little stack of concealers. And I used to use them for contouring, and I actually used them on a photo shoot, which looked really nice. So there's just a few cream products that I like to use. So it's not a massive amount. I'm not one of these makeup artists that spends hundreds and hundreds. You'll learn when you get into makeup that you can't just be spending on everything new that comes out, and you'll realise what you need for your kit and what works well for your clients, and you'll get into a little groove with that. And don't get me wrong, I do like to try new things, but you know, it's expensive, so you've just got to do a lot of research and be sure of what you're buying is going to work for you as well. Right, so I'm just going to talk you through some of the powder products I use as well. So I'll see you in a sec, guys. Right, so powder contour, and I've got a few favourites. Now, this is actually an eyeshadow palette from Kryolan, and it's a smoked rose palette. I've actually got a video on this on my YouTube channel. So I like to use some of these sort of chestnut brown colours at the end here, and I sometimes use these matte ones as well for adding a touch of highlight. So you don't always have to highlight with shimmer. It's not like, you know, the rule that you have to. Depends what look you're doing, but if you want to lift, then a bit of shimmer is nice. But for photo shoots, sometimes I'll use a flat matte depending on the look that I'm going for. So this is a Body Shop palette. Now it's not an expensive one. You'll find as well that some of the more cheaper brands work just as well as the expensive ones. So this I love because I'm going to talk you through the tones you should use for contouring. So can you see this here? It's quite warm. So it's quite orangey, like a tan colour, whereas this is quite a grey sort of, I'd say it's got a bit of browning, but it's more of a grey. Can you see the difference between the two? So the one thing, if you think about when you're contouring, is that you're trying to mimic shadows that fall on the skin. So you're not wanting to have an unnatural finish, so any orange marks. So if you think about shadows that fall on the skin, then normally you can see I've got some on my jawline just from where the light is and under my neck. So they're like a black, dark grey colour, and that's what you need to mimic. So if you're reaching for, say, something like this, which is quite a tan colour, that is not going to sit well on the skin and it will look unnatural. So just bear that in mind when you're looking for colours. Now the only time I would change that is if I'm working on a darker skin, but even then I wouldn't go too orange. I would opt for more maybe of a chestnut colour, so something a bit more of a brown undertone. So these Tropic palettes are really nice, and I tend to use these on darker skin, so you can see it's not got that orangey undertone to it, that one. So I think that's actually called chestnut in that one. And then the Vintage Rose palette's similar as well. So these are great for darker skin, and the highlighter's really nice as well. So it's more, if you just think darker skin, it's more golden tones, chestnut tones, that sort of thing. You don't want anything too ashy or too orange on dark skin. And this is the Body Shop Dark Contour Palette. So you can see the contour shade, it's still within that brown sort of tone. And, oh sorry, it's that one. And that's the a bit of a bronzer one there. So it's a little bit darker. I think that's right. I've not used this much actually. Yeah, that's right. I was just double checking. So there's a few of my favourites. I've also got the Kryolan Trio eyeshadow palette, which I like to use for contouring as well. It's really nice. And the only one that I've got, I didn't actually like this palette when I first got it. It's a Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow. I love it now. The highlighter's lovely, and this is the only exception I would use to contouring with a slight shimmer, and it does actually look really nice. It's what I've got on today, so it's just this one here. So it's a little bit more, it's not got that grey undertone to it, but it does work. It's probably, like I said, it's the only one I've got an exception to. But I normally use the Body Shop one on a lot of my clients because it just gives that more natural finish, and it looks like you can't tell you've contoured the face. It's just lifted and enhanced without looking like you've got orange marks on the skin. So we want to try and avoid that. Now if someone's got a tan, it can be very, very difficult because tan sometimes goes patchy. Like I do so many weddings where they've put spray tan on, but the necks are a different colour to the face, and you know, the shoulders have gone patchy or whatever. So what I would do in that instance, sorry, just got an itch, I would match the foundation accordingly, and then I would go in with this Laura Mercier bronzer. Like I had a bride at the weekend and she'd had a tan, and it felt weird because I was putting on a darker foundation, but I had to match her body. But she was all patchy around the back of her neck where the tan had come off, so I went in with this and just dusted some on, and it just evened it all out. So that's a little bit of a lifesaver for tan skin. I think that's mostly everything that I contour with, and I've got this. This is the Glamour Glow Bridal palette from Kryolan. Now these have got a bit of shimmer in, so I don't use these that often for contouring, but I will use them on darker skin as a bit of a highlighter. So these are the sort of colours that would be lovely for dark skin, and then you've got a nice blush and a lighter highlighter there. Okay, so I'm going to be back in a second because I need to log off this video so it's not too big when I upload it, and I'm going to talk you through the actual contouring of the face. So I'll see you soon, guys. Okay, so I've now talked you through my favourite powder contour products, a couple of cream ones which I use for editorial work, not for my weddings. I don't think I've ever used cream contouring for my weddings. And just a bit of information on the tones of contour as well. So I'm going to talk you through now, I mentioned about the mapping of the face. Now I do this on every client, it works a treat, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. So a few little pointers when you're contouring. I've done this in other shorter videos on my groups on Facebook, but hopefully this will be a bit more in depth for you. So the first one, I always like to contour the cheeks. Now this is all in my online training video module for my online contouring training, but I'm just going to run you through some of the top tips. So top of the ear coming down, now that is where you contour, so you're right on the cheekbone or just very slightly under. You're not coming in here, because if you really just sit back and think about it, when you're contouring low down, you're actually dragging the face down, so that's the total opposite of what you want to be doing. You want to be lifting everything up. I don't think I've ever had a woman come to me and say, drag my face down. You know, everybody wants to be lifted, especially some of the older clientele, you know, they really want to look a bit more youthful, and this is the way to do it. So top of the ear coming down, so you're right on the actual burn of the cheek, the cheekbone, and that's where you contour. So let me just get an angled brush, and it's all in the pressure of the brush as well, so you just be very, very light. So you start at the top and you just gently brush it in. You can see this is how I apply mine as well. I'm just gently dusting it. I'm not pressing really hard. I won't have a lot of product on the brush either. So just gently put that up towards the hairline, and you're not coming too far down, so I tend to stop just short of the bottom of the cheekbone. So same on both sides, obviously. So if you just do the line, again, this is, I've actually got a contouring guide I will upload for you so you can see the mapping. So it comes down just to the corner of the mouth. Always remember that line and you will be absolutely fine. Now the next one, which actually takes years off, and I do this a lot on my older clients as well. If you go from the tip of the nose through the arch of the eyebrow, and it's just above where the temple is, you dust a bit of contour around here. Now what this does is it makes a slight indent in the temple, and it makes the cheekbones more prominent. So you're coming in and then the cheekbones are going to come out lovely. So that's an amazing part to do on your older clientele as well, and it works great on the younger people as well, but the older ladies obviously do want to look, like I say, that bit more youthful. So that's, it takes years off, it's amazing. So top of the cheek there, and it actually lifts the eyes as well, so although it's bringing out the cheekbone, it's also lifting the eyes. So a really, really good one to do. So I'll just talk you through that again. So tip of the nose through the arch of the brow, and it's just this area here. So God, that light is really bright, it's making me look shiny again. So it just comes in here and then you come round. So it's in and then it curves around your cheekbone. So them two I do a lot on people. I do sometimes contour, so you can see I've added a bit of darkness in my top of the bridge of the nose here this morning, and that's lovely to do for editorial work as well. So you can just shade in the top of the nose, and it actually makes the eyes look a better shape, and it gives you a nice sort of line to work through the socket as well to come out, so it elongates the eye a little bit as well. Now the only time I wouldn't contour the cheekbone is if I've had a couple of ladies who have got really prominent cheekbones. So in that instance, I don't really want to make them even more prominent, so what I would do is just tiny bit of highlighter on the top, bit of blusher. I wouldn't even contour because they don't need it. And that's something to bear in mind when you've got your client in your seat. Not everybody has to be contoured to hell, you know. It's not like the rules, you don't have to do that. Just look at your client and think, right, what would I like to bring out? What would she like to bring out herself? And just see what will suit your client. So a lot of the time it is the cheeks and the temple, but sometimes you might need to contour the nose as well. So I get a lot of Asian brides who have flatter noses, so I tend to contour them just to bring them in a bit. But if you look at my nose, it's quite thin. So if I contour that, it's just going to make it even thinner and it's going to look stupid. So, you know, just think about what you want to achieve with the contouring and highlighting. And I'll just talk you through the jaw area as well. So when you're contouring the jaw, you want to make sure you keep the brush just underneath the jawline, so you're not bringing it over onto the face. So just make sure it's always underneath, and that's brilliant for anyone with a rounded face, because I don't contour my jawline too much because I don't want to make it too sharp. But anyone with a rounded face or a bit of a double chin works absolutely amazing. So if you've got an older client that needs a bit of a sharper jawline and you do the temple as well, it's going to really make a massive difference. So put these tips into practice, guys. It really does make a huge difference to your makeup work. I think that was everything for the face mapping. Oh, one more thing. So the forehead. So you just gently contour around the top of the hairline. Now the only time you would contour is if someone's got like a fine hairline or a tall forehead. So my forehead's not too tall, so I don't tend to contour it that much, but If someone had a really short forehead and you contoured it, it would shorten it again, and it would make the person's face look a little bit sort of out of whack. So just, again, assess the person in your seat and think, do they actually need it? Because most people don't need a full face of contouring. Okay guys, I think that's everything. I'll be back in a second just to finish off. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in a second. Bye for now. Hi guys, sorry, I just wanted to jump back in and just round all that off. So I've talked about a bit about the cream products for contouring, my favourite powder ones, the face mapping, which works for so many people. I do it on all my clients. And just a bit of information, excuse me, about the different tones for people's skin as well. So hopefully that's really helped you. There's more details on my video module. But I just wanted to say as well, I have a great spoiler alert, which I'll do in a separate video. And this is going to be an opportunity for 12 people. So I will talk a little bit more about that in another video. And I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.